The herbs will be working on the basis of either removing the source of origin of the disease, or they will be reversing the pathophysiology. So there will be an overall an improvement in the animal health. If we can first of all appreciate the word disease. The term itself signifies that this of ease. That is, it is the altered biochemical state of the body. Whether it is a pathogen mediated or whether it is a non-pathogen mediated, the overall impact will be there will be a change in the ROS production in the body. ROS production is a routine process. The level of production is going to be either augmented or reduced. In both the cases, there will be a discomfort in the body. And once the ROS is generated, it is will pave the way to the inflammasomes, leading to generalized inflammation in the body, or it will be targeted to a specific tissue that will be leading to the secondary messengers. And as long as the secondary messengers like interferons and TNF extra will be there will be an inflammation and a tissue damage, and ultimately the production of the disease. So, in nutshell, we can say that if the free radicals can be taken care of, then there is no disease. But how does it normally takes place? The pathogens and the environmental stresses exist everywhere, ubiquitously. But the body has a reserve for the antioxidants, both enzymic and non-enzymic. The enzymic will be the catalase and the SODs, which will be neutralizing the free radical generated, and then you have glutathione for the immediate neutralization of the free radicals. But as long as the store is maintained or it is replenished with the help of a diet, they take care of the free radicals, and overall the animal feels no excess oxidative stress. There is no oxidative damage, so there is no inflammation, and there is no degeneration of lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids, and so there is no onset of the disease. So we can appreciate that this ROS or the ROS-linked inflammation is the root cause of any disease, and it is also responsible for the slow degeneration or the aging of the tissues in the body, and leading to a way to other stimuluses for the production of disease, irrespective of their presence or absence. This holds true also for the cancerous cases, where initially a small oxidative stress can produce the disease initiation, and that will lead to the production of cytokines and chemokines, and then there will be pathway for inflammation, increased ROS, then there will be antioxidant depletion, and again this vicious oxidative stress and ROS generation will continuously get augmented, and the condition will slowly aggravate by itself unless it is checked or delayed the use of antioxidants. Now we have talked about the oxidative stress, but what is oxidative stress? Chemically, it is the production of free radicals. And how does this free radicals takes place? This is when the body experiences stress. Now this stress can be a physical stress. The animal is being exposed to excess physical exercise or excess physical labor, or it is placed in closed confinements, or there may be other reasons. It may have a behavioral stress which usually goes unrecognized, but it can be diagnosed on the basis of a change in the feed intake or in the basis of their interaction with the other animals. There can also be an emotional stress where the animal is in a stage of fear of flight, and it can lead to agitated behavior. Then there may be environmental stresses, either due to the transportation of the animal, or there is a change in the ownership of the animal and the managemental techniques. And add to this, specifically in India, there is a lot of climatic change. These all stresses will work in association with each other, and this can be appreciated with the help of this picture. This I have taken from one of my review articles, which was emphasizing upon the respiratory distress under the respiratory disease, and where you can see that the low virulence pathogens, which is normally harmless, will produce the disease in an immunocompromised host when there is a certain climatic variation, or there will be managemental alterations, or the transportation or the ventilation is compromised, and there is a malnutrition, or there is a physical exertion. But on the other hand, only high-level pathogens can produce a disease in the healthy animal which is living in an ambient environment. So overall, it can be emphasized if the environmental factors or the changes in the climate can be taken care of, or the managemental techniques can be suitably modified, then there will be a much reduction in the initiation or the development of the disease. It may initiate, but the progress might be quite slow. The only thing is that the cumulative effect of the stresses should be avoided. Then why these herbs? We all know India has a rich flora. And if you go through the literature, they have been significantly mentioned by the ITK as hepatoprotectives, anti-asthmatics, anti-diabetics, adaptogens, cardiovascular protective drugs, nutraceuticals, and they have been found to be compatible with the alternative in the complementary medicine. There is minimum side effects, and the most beautiful thing is that simply acting as antioxidants, they can be used as nutraceuticals, they can be used as feed, they can be used as medicines, and whatnot. So what does this term herbal therapy actually means? This means the use of herbs or herbal materials or herbal preparations or the finished products for treatment or prophylaxis, irrespective whether the herb is being used singularly or multiple. But if you use for multiple formulations, the benefit goes synergistic. The herbs may include a simple crude material, plant material, whether the leaves, the flowers, fruits, seeds, and they may be introduced as a feed ingredient, or they may be used as herbal materials, which are the extracts, or the fresh juices, the gums, the fixed oils, or it can be the dried powders, or it can be the herbal finished products, as per the interest. At present, the scenario says that the world has approximately 8,000 well-established medicinal plant species. And the WHO says that the 80% of the population in developing countries relies on medicinal plants. Even the 25% of modern chemical or allopathy medicines are derived indirectly or directly from the plants, and 50% of these medicinal flora has been described and biologically evaluated. So how do herbs work? The herbs work on the basis of their bioactive phytoconstituents. The question arises, what do we mean by this term bioactive phytoconstituents? Actually, when the plant grows, it produces two types of metabolites. The primary metabolites are the nutritional metabolites, which are responsible for the final output of the plant. For example, the wheat plant that's producing the wheat grain. But in that process, the plant will also produce certain secondary metabolites, which are much lesser in quantity and have no role as a grain. But they are responsible for protecting the plant during its growth. And these phytoconstituents can be tapped for the bioactivity. Some will have a medicinal role, while some have a toxic role. The ultimate aim remains to how we can successfully trap a particular stage of the plant which has a maximum beneficial potential and a minimum side active potential. Mostly these secondary phytoconstituents, they will either protect the plant, they will attract this pollination, or they will be used for signal transduction. Mainly they will be glycosides, saponins, flavonoids, proanthocyanins, phenolic constituents, tannins, terpenoids, and there's a huge list. The other term is the nutraceuticals, the food as or the plant phytoconstituents, bioactive constituents as nutraceuticals. This means that the plant itself can be used as a food. It can be introduced into the meal so that there is minimum physical processing. It will provide to the nutrition, and along with the nutrition, it will be providing the antioxidants, and that will help in the maintaining the plant and the animal, or it will also help in promoting the health of the animal. The major advantage with using the plants as nutraceuticals is this is minimum processing, and so the maximum activity is retained. The thought appears to be far-fetching, but this is the real truth. Even when the animal is being introduced to a diet, the diet introduces a slight inflammation in the digestive tract, which is routinely termed as a para-inflammation. And this para-inflammation is responsible for activating the digestive processes, and that is controlled by the antioxidants present in the diet. This chronic inflammation condition in the GIT, if remains under the control of the dietary antioxidants, this leads to an effective or optimal digestive processes. And if the antioxidant value of the diet falls below, then it leads to the oxidative stress, and which is evident in the animal as an impaired normal growth and development, limited productivity, and the animal is unable to attain its full genetic potential, and it will have an overall negative impact on the growth and the carcass merits. There will be lactation performance will be compromised, and the overall health will be affected. In the present scenario, there is a lot of resurgence of herbal medicine. This is because the undesirable effects are minimum, and beneficial effect on aging has been recognized with the population in the last 2 decades. It also improves the quality and the proof of efficacy, and the safety of the herbal medicine has also been emphasized. And in context to the animals, the high cost of synthetic medicine can be avoided. When you are rearing especially the small ruminants in masses, going for a specific allopathy medicine each time proves to be quite expensive. So this is quite lucrative for the small ruminant rearers. So what we need today is to protect and preserve the natural flora and the traditional knowledge, and to integrate this knowledge into a formal system of healthcare after scientific validation. At present in India, we have herbal remedies divided into 3 groups: the plants with codified knowledge, plants with empirical knowledge, the plants with scientific knowledge. As far as the selection of the plants is considered, initially the plant selection is based upon the folklore medicine, the traditional reports of medicine, or in some cases, the drugs are found by chance and are being traditionally handed over, or it is by the acute observation of the fauna. We are observing whether the animals are going for specific plant selection in certain conditions, and we are trying to analyze the situation accordingly. Now, the collection of the plant material is the most important aspect. The plants can be collected from wild as well as the cultivated sources, but there is a huge difference. As I already mentioned, these phytoconstituents, the bioactive phytoconstituents, are the secondary metabolites. And these secondary metabolites are responsible for maintaining the plant in a harsh condition, whether it is the environmental condition, whether it is exposure to the pest conditions, whether it is the soil, it is the environment, it can be any condition. The only purpose of the production of this secondary metabolite is the protection of the plant. So if it is a natural habitat, then the chances of the content of secondary metabolites is quite high. But when we are taking the plants from a cultivated source, that means the cultivation parameters are far from the natural ones. And it is possible that the targeted secondary metabolite may be absent. In addition to this, we need to emphasize upon at what stage the plant material needs to be collected. They will not be produced at a regular amount throughout the life of the plant. They will be seasonal dependent, they will be stage dependent. So we need to collect the plant material at the exact duration of growth and the exact climatic variations and how we are harvesting it. Whether we are just macerating it or we are protecting it unhampered and then we are processing it in an appropriate manner. All things will carry value. For general extraction, we can simply identify the collect plant materials, we can dry it, grind it, and then we can dissolve it in a solvent system for the desirable extraction, which is normally 1:10. And then we can simply filter it or centrifuge it. And if we don't have a centrifuge, then we can allow it to stand for some time and then we can collect the supernatant and we can go for the treatment. In the field conditions, the cold percolation is the best method and it can be standardized in a particular area. You can simply soak the plant material in the solvent. You can use methanol or distilled water as per your requirement for 1 to 7 days with continuous intermittent stirring, and then you can filter it and you can either centrifuge or it can allow it to stand. It stands. You can collect the supernatant, and if it is ethanol, you can dry it or you can simply store the solvent, the supernatant as such and use it. But the major concern remains the concentration and the dosing. For fluid extracts, the loss is less, but the solid extracts have a longer shelf life and so they are preferred. But during the extraction and the drying, there is loss of activity. And sometimes by the time the solid extract is obtained, the activity is completely lost. So we have to decide what is the target of the treatment and how far we have to go. The biological activity, this is again an issue because the plants varying in the geographical conditions will have a different biochemical activity, bioactivity, and simple or dependent testing methods are not available. And when for same genus with same constituents, these phytoconstituents, they are always working in association. They are never a single phytoconstituent that is active. And so, even the absence of a minor phytoconstituent can lead to the loss of activity. So, we need to ascertain the activity for plant of each geographical region, then only we can be sure. It cannot be a hard and fast rule that if the this Arjun in one area is working, is in North India, it is also going to work in the south. Then the plants have the problem of misidentification, and because the collection procedure may vary, the storage may vary, the potencies may vary from batch to batch, from season to season. And there will be a huge variation in the chemical composition depending upon the cultivation, the geographical area, and the environmental conditions, and a lot of anomalies in the nomenclature also. So everything needs to be taken care of. Overall, the quality control and the standardization of herbs is a big issue. Mostly the active principles are not well evaluated, and the source and the quality of the raw material, which plays a pivot role, is usually not ensured, and the availability of quality raw material is rather quite difficult. Then the standardization, because these are in traces and mostly it is a complex. It is not a single phytoconstituents, mostly 2 to 3 phytoconstituents in a plant. They will work in synergism for a particular activity. So standardization on the basis of a single biomarker is quite difficult. Then the stability is an issue because once we extract it, if you go for complete drying, the complete drying will lead to loss of activity, and again the quality of the extract will be compromised. The well-controlled double-blinded studies are still rare, and mostly because we say that the herbal medicines, they are quite safe. This also develops a tendency for self-medication. Presently, if you see the present scenario, we have about 5 lakh plants in the list, but the chemical profiling and their exact bioactivity still needs to be recognized. And though there are international cooperative biodiversity groups and there are provisions for recognition and protection of ownership, but still the bioprospecting is a long way, and the document mining is still under process and is in the primitive stages. The ancient text needs to be studied and the books needs to be referred. Presently, if we want to use the herbal therapy for health of Indian livestock, we need the role of a veterinarian and we need an active participation of the traditional physicians and exploring their local traditional knowledge and the feedback so that the active plants and the toxic compounds can be explored and the new drug formulations can be developed. At CIRG, I myself working on Bruclear, we have developed two plant-based combination which is effective in treating and controlling the shedding of brucella. And because the brucella is a very endemic in India, we have conducted up to now 3 trials, and in those trials we have been 100% effective in checking the brucella shedding and controlling the brucella in the animals. Then we have Sanjeevani bolus, which is an immunomodulator for weaning kids. Then Izikidar for optimizing the parturition stress in goats, because the parturition is itself involving a lot of tissue remodeling. The animal has to pass from the gestational stage to the lactational stage. So the uterus has to involute and the mammary gland has to initiate the milk production and maintain it. So this whole tissue remodeling produces an intense stress on the animal and which needs to be optimized. And we have done with the help of a combination of 3 plants. Then we have a stressol G, which can ameliorate the heat and cold stress in the animals. So far, CIRG has commercialized Aliquid. This is a herbal preparation for ectoparasiticides. Then you have Hilex FR, which is a skin antiseptic. In the tube form, it will be antiseptic as well. It will be repelling this insects. Then you have Daronix HS, an antidiarrheal powder. Then Vermolix and Enthelmantic for this Himancus. Then Megatex spray for this is a herbal acaricide liquid spray. IMU for bolus. This is an immunotherapy bolus for any stress condition. And then the Ajar soap, the 3 variants. And this is a goat-based milk herb fortified soap. Now the herbal preparations can be used in different forms. It can be used in a powder. You can, for example, you can go for this powder collection. You can keep it simple leaf material or bark material, and you can collect it and use it as required, or you can use as a decoction. Then you have poultices we can use for the inflamed area, as well as it can be used in case of pus. We can prepare ointments and creams. We can finely ground the plant material and the extracts with the help of a butter or any cooking oil, or we can use a simple glycerine, and which can be applied for the rashes. But for the ointment and creams, because will be providing a soothing effect, we need to take care that the plant material should be devoid of any fiber particles, which can produce an excess irritation to the wounds. Then you can have decoction. Decoction is the most commonly prepared herbal preparation. One or the several plant materials can be added to the water. The water can be boiled, and then the supernatant can be used after cooling. Then we can have an infusion, and the water can be used after filtration given to the animal. We can go for the cold water extracts because many active ingredients are heat labile. and therefore a cold extract can simply be prepared by soaking the leaves or the roots or the bark material in water and keeping it overnight, and after overnight we can simply filter it and the cold extract can be used. And this is most feasible formulation in case of field conditions. Then you can have a tincture mixing water and alcohol in the 70 to 30 ratio, and the plant material can be left for a few days, and this can be standardized for a particular preparation. And once the medicinal properties are attained, the tincture can be filtered and can be used, or it can be a fumigation, and like we are performing Havan. The dry or the wet plant material can be put into the fire and the smoke can be used for the treatment. This is the most common method for using against ectoparasites, and this can be compared to this performing Havans. Coming to the precise diseases, the FMD, we can use the paste of Amarbel and it can be applied twice. The FMD, this is a viral disease, and secondly, the important aspect is to provide an immunomodulatory effect to the tissues to help in the recovery, and also providing an antiseptic touch. So we can use Amarbel. Amarbel is a routine plant that is easily available and it can be used as a powder and it can be stored also without any damage to the activity, and it can be used as and when required. The leaf paste of shisha and can be used with over the lesions. Then you have can use the genda and it can be used with honey. Then we can have Argemone mexicana leaf juice, which can be fed to the animals for the FMD. Then we have a plant, Vitex nigundi. The leaf extract can be, or the paste can be applied to the wounds, or the calotropis or the arc can be used to wash the infected foods thrice daily for 3 to 4 days. And this is a wonderful antiseptic as well as immunostimulant, and this will recover the overall growth. Then you can use the petiole juice of Arvi and which can be given twice a day for once a week. Then you can use the leaf juice of Lantana cambra orally. Talking about the disease, the first and the most common symptom is the loss of appetite. And if we can improve upon the salivation, then most of the time the appetite is restored. For this, we can go for the tamarind fruit pulp and 100 ml, and we can go for this harar. Harar is a common household ingredient, powder of 2 grams, and we can mix and simply drench to the animal, or we can either mix it in the feed. Then you can also go for 10 grams of dry ginger, the gingiber officinalis, adrak, then soft powder and molasses, and the 5 gram of black salt we can mix together, and we can feed 1 spoon of this preparation, or we can either rub it over the tongue. If the animal is reluctant to take it, the animal will slowly take the powder and the appetite will be restored. Then 1/2 the tablespoon of common salt, 5 gram of ajwain seeds. They can be powdered together, and we can add molasses to it and the feed to the animal. Then we can also use 3 to 4 leaves of lemongrass and the black salt, 3 grams. They can be grounded together with rice water to make a final volume of 500 ml, and the liquid can be drenched to the infected animal. Or if we go for complex preparation, we can use ajmund 15 grams, ajwain 15 grams, jaifal 5 grams, dry ginger 30 grams, kali mirch 25 to 30 pieces, and fried hing 10 grams. So we can ground them, mix them, and 1 to 1/2 tablespoon of this powder can be mixed with the water, or it can be mixed with any food ingredient, and it can be fed to the animal. So that will can be used for 7 days, and this is a wonderful preparation for restoring the appetite. The second most common is the fever. We can use chiraita. We can use about 5 grams of chiraita, and we can mix with the 20 to 25 grams of molasses. We prepare a thick paste which can be rubbed over the tongue or the roof of the mouth cavity, and for 5 days we can do it. Or either we can take the chiraita, we can boil it, 1 kg of chiraita in 5 kgs of water, and for 3 to 4 hours. Then it can be mashed and left overnight for fermentation, filtered and stored. And about half cup of the decoction can be administered using the twice a day for 5 to 6 days in acute cases. Then you can simply take the amar bale, and half tablespoon of the amar bale can be administered orally twice a day for a week. And if we go for minimum or the most economic, it is the neem leaves. We can use, simply take the neem leaves, 20 grams. We can boil it, and we can cool the water and simply give the decoction to the animal twice a day for 5 days. Or we can go for nirgundi leaves, 2 handfuls, leaves boiled in water, 1 liter, and decoction made, and then the decoction can be cooled and filtered and fed to the animal. Then for enteritis, we can use 250 grams of fresh ginger, 250 grams of ajwain seeds, and they can be grounded into a paste. Then we can add to this paste 100 grams of tea leaves. The tea leaves, because of their antioxidant potential, they will be providing an instant relief to the digestive tract. And this mixture can either be boiled and cooled, or otherwise the paste can as such be fed to the animal. Half of the preparation is drenched to the animal in the morning and half in the evening for 3 days, and this will be relieving the entire digestive tract of its inflammation, as well as it will be removing any wound. In addition to this, we can also go for 1 liter of rice water, cooked rice water, and we can add 100 grams of dried ginger powder, which can be drenched to the animal twice a day for 3 days. Then we can have 500 grams of fresh guava leaves, and they are boiled in 200 ml of water for 10 minutes and drenched twice daily for 4 to 5 days. 1 handful of tea leaves, about 100 grams, boiled in water, strained, and then ginger can be added if you want to give it an antiseptic touch, anti-inflammatory touch, and then the preparation can be drenched twice daily for 3 to 4 days. When talking about the wounds, the most important aspect is that most of the growing shoots, whether it is moringa, whether it is neem, tulsi, sharifa, or whether it is genda leaves, or it is haldi, any plant whichever is available can be used. But you have to first filter the paste through a fine muslin cloth to avoid the introduction of any fine fibers of the plant to the wounds. And once you strain the paste, you can use it as such, or you can add to it any emollient like butter or the glycerine, whichever is available or desirable. All the plant material that is used as medicine is usually shade dried, and it should be stored in a moisture-free environment. You can also use the sap of aloe vera, and you can mix this leaf paste directly to it, or you can boil it along with it, and you can prepare the poultices also. If you don't have any plant material, and you are not sure of the plant material, you can simply use the cotton wool, which can be burnt, and the black burnt mass. can be applied topically. This will prevent the secondary infection and it will allow the body to recover by itself. Then the ectoparasites. Literature says that Nirgundi leaves extracts can be sprayed directly over the animal, or you can use the neem seeds. You can pound the neem seeds until they turn brown and sticky. You add a little water to it to make a paste, thick paste, and then that paste can be as such rubbed onto the skin of the animal, or it can be squeezed to remove the oil, and that oil can be rubbed. And that will repel the flies as well as the biting insects. In other preparation, we can simply boil the tobacco leaves, 250 grams in 4 liters of water, and we can add soap to give a little foamy effect, and we can wash or spray the affected animal with this liquid. For abscess, you can use kalmake roots, light dilute decoction, and this can be used in drinking water for 7 to 10 days. And you can also feed fresh or the dyed coffee. This is a sort of a nutraceutical. Retained placenta, again a common issue in small ruminants. We can simply use the bark of bhang. We can cut into small pieces. We can boil it in 2 liters of water and adding a little limestone to it. Once boiled for 30 minutes, cool it and filter it, and then you can be drenched. Then the placenta will be removed within a day. Or we can use the bhindi, fresh fruits, about 250 grams of bhindi. We can mash it in water, 2 liters of water, and then we can make the animal drink it. Or we can take the papaya leaves, 10 big papaya leaves, boiled in water, and then mashed and filtered, and 1 liter of such water can be given in the morning and next in the evening, and within the next day, by the next day, the placenta will be expelled. Or still, we can use miswak, arm long piece of miswak. We can just clean the surface and crush the scrapings and soak them in calabash, 1 liter of water for 12 hours, and the water will turn a bit yellowish and will taste bitter, and that can be fed to the animal, and this will lead to the dropping of placenta.